afternoon, Internet. It is Eric Arnold, sometimes known as the Big E, here in his barn. We're used to talk about sports. It's Saturday, 20 after 4 on Saturday afternoon, the 21st, first day of spring. Another half-decent day here. There's the cat I was looking for. Come here, Mookie, come here. She's not going to come here, and this will be a boring video of me standing there for 20 minutes saying, "Come on, Mookie," as she just laughs at me because that's what cats do. At any rate, what do we have here for you? Sports-wise, I don't think we have anything for you. I noted MLB is running some stuff on great games of the past. I've found myself sucked into that for lack of something else to watch. This is today apparently is the retrospective of the 1978 Bucky Dent Red Sox Yankees game, which I was heavily into back then. Well, I was 10. Was I 10 or was I 11? I was 10 going on 11. But yeah, I was heavy into that season, big time. I was really getting into baseball. I wonder about kids nowadays. They just, they don't follow sports the way we did back in the day. I don't have kids. I married late in life and have a step-son, and then he has a son, so I guess I have a step-grandson. Well, you can't get this kid to sit still for 5 seconds, let alone, watch a baseball game. You can't get him to sit still just to play wiffle ball. But at any rate, so back in the day when I was 10 going on 11, yeah, I was heavy into baseball. The Phillies were good. They were good again on their way to winning the third straight division title. I had been to the game 2 in '76 against the Reds down at Veterans Stadium. They lost, but at that time I was still a little young to totally take in the whole magnitude of it. '77, they Black Friday, lost to the Dodgers. I was a team the Phillies could have won the World Series with. Again, I was probably a little young to take in the magnitude of the disaster that Black Friday was. I was just sad that they had lost and I was going to be no more baseball. In '78, now I'm starting to really get into this team now, and, I want to win something. This is fun watching them all, but, I understand there's something at the end of the road there where you actually win. If you beat the other teams consistently enough times, then when it's all over, they say, "You're the champion, you win." Well, I wanted to win. Well, my team, the Phillies weren't quite there yet. At any rate, talking giant circle. Actually, none of this is something I wanted to say, and my time's expiring. What were we going to talk about? I don't even know. Sports-wise, we're talking about baseball. I'm playing around with my betting models. I found a couple things in college basketball that might make them better. My mind is transitioning from college basketball to baseball. One thing I did notice that I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll talk about one of my favorite college basketball tournaments. I could do that. We should be watching college basketball right now from noon to midnight. But we're not. My favorite year, I think, one of my favorite years, we'll say the favorite year, was 1985, because my team won. I couldn't believe it. One of the greatest upsets, probably the greatest upset in the history of the tournament, when Villanova beat Georgetown. I love that Villanova team. I love them because they won. Let's be honest. Let's see, it would have been St. Patrick's Day, 1985. That was the second round, the round they'd be playing today. It was the first year of the 64-team field, so it's apples to apples. So Villanova always had a good team, and they were close. They were close. They were close in those years leading up to '85. It wasn't like they came from way off the map. I mean, they had gotten to the round of 8. Was it in '82, I think, or was it '81? I think they got to the round of 8 at least twice, maybe 3 times. I know they lost to Virginia one year with Ralph Sampson. I know they lost to North Carolina one year. I think that one I'm not sure on. I might have to look that one up. But I know they lost to Houston the year that they had Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler, that team that went on to famously lose to Jim Valvano and company. So they were close, but they could never quite break through. And of course you had these other great teams in the Big East. Georgetown was unbelievable back then. I mean, that was an unbelievable team. Patrick Ewing was just a force. I mean, he was clearly the best player on the court every night. And then St. John's with Chris Mullin, another, no doubt about it, NBA player, a top 5 draft guy for the NBA. And here's Villanova. They don't really have anybody like that. So, but in '85, the Villanova had a decent senior class. They were expected to do more, and they just couldn't break through against those super teams like St. John's and Georgetown. They played them 5 times in the regular season and the conference tournament. They lost all 5 of them, but they were close. I mean, they didn't get blown out in any of them, to my recollection. I'd have to look that up. I don't think they lost any of them by more than 15, and most of them were within 5 to 8 points, I think. So they were close, but I really didn't, I just wasn't that big of a fan. I admit it. I was a teenager, so I wasn't a loyal, diehard Villanova fan. I paid attention around the time of the tournament. I actually was a little more into Temple probably that year. The day before Villanova played was Temple played Georgetown. That was a Saturday. That would have been Saturday, March the 16th. I don't remember the dates exactly. That's why we had the internet to help us refresh our memories. So, I was kind of hoping that Temple, who was always really pretty good on I would say the par with Villanova, would give Georgetown a game. Well, he really didn't. And I watched that game, and, Temple just was never in it. They just got hammered by Patrick Ewing and company. So that was that. So Sunday comes around, and now Villanova, who has beaten Dayton on their home court, I might add. I'm still wondering how that came about. It's like, okay, Villanova, you're in the tournament. Hooray! And you get to play Dayton on their home floor. What the hell is that? I mean, how does that work? That's not right. That's not right. But that's what happened. So Villanova beats Dayton on their home floor by 2 points. And now they're playing the number 2 team in the country, the number 1 seed in the bracket, Michigan. And it was kind of, you don't really have any comparisons because the 2 teams really didn't play anybody that played each other. So you didn't really know. It's like, well, Michigan, they're obviously good. They're number 1 team in the bracket. But Michigan hadn't played well in their first game. They almost got beat by a 16 seed. They managed to beat Fairleigh Dickinson by all 4 points. So, yeah, here we come Sunday, and, Villanova's an 8 seed, and Michigan's the 1 seed. So, we're Villanova has a chance, but not a very good chance. I remember my friend Billy Flum called me up and said, do you want to go up to the high school to shoot baskets? And I thought, well, yeah. Somebody wants me to get out of the house and go do something? Sure. So, I thought, I'll go do that rather than watch this basketball game where, Villanova's probably going to lose. So that's what we did. I'm not sure. I think my brother went with us up there, but I'm not 100% on that one. I know Billy had his AMC Hornet, and we were riding up in that. And I know we had the game on the radio, at least part of it. And I know as we're going up there, you know, I hear Villanova's ahead. They're ahead by a point or two. I'm thinking, wow, we got a chance here. They're actually in this game. And then, you know, by the time we got back, the game was over. But we did hear it on the radio. But my God, they won. And now I'm like thinking, wow, they beat the number 1 team in the or number 2 team in the country. Who knows? Maybe this team could do something. I mean, they've always been pretty close to making the Final Four. So, you know, this is my recollection of this time, say 35 years ago, of when Villanova was starting to make their push into the '85 tournament. And it was exciting as, I don't know, I guess I was 16, 17 years old back then. So, yeah, it was starting to, that's when everybody started to pay attention. Villanova, you know, Villanova in '85. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that probably wasn't nearly as exciting as I A, hoped it would be, and B, watching live college basketball tournament games, but we can't do the second one, and I'll work on the first one. I wanted to give you some information here on the virus. What else is there to fucking talk about? The virus. I told you what I was looking at is number of deaths. I want to try to, I'm trying to figure out when this thing's going to flatten this curve everybody keeps talking about. Flatten the curve. You know, that's why we're all locked in our houses here on the East Coast. We're all locked on, we're not actually locked in our houses. I mean, I could go walk down the street right now. Nobody's going to stop me. I can get in my car and just drive in a circle. I can drive all over Berks County. Nobody's going to stop me. I just can't go anywhere because everything's closed. When is this curve going to flatten? Again, our metric we're using is deaths. We're not using cases. I think that's nonsense. Death is death, and it's always reported. The deaths are not unreported. Cases, they're unreported. I get sick, I don't go to the hospital, I get over it. I had a case, but no one knows. Tree fell in the forest, no one heard it. So cases is a number that I just think is mush, doesn't matter. Deaths is what we want to use. So, I'm using a website, I think it's called Worldometer. Worldometer. And on the Worldometer website, it's listing daily deaths from this coronavirus in the United States. It has all kind of other things like what states they're in, and it does track number of cases the best that we can determine. So here I thought some of this was interesting, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. It's good news. I think it's good news. At the moment, we'll take all the good news we can get. They list the number of deaths per date, and they, last week they were in the single digits. Now they've ramped up this week to 23 Tuesday, 41 on Wednesday, 57 Thursday was a bad day. Now here is where I thought, okay, this is interesting. Yesterday it was 49, and today, today's not over yet, obviously. So there's still about a third of the day left. So I'm guessing it's going to come in around 40, maybe a little more than that. You can see these numbers went up and peaked at 57, and now they're starting to slowly drop. It's only 2 days, so I don't know that we can see a whole lot there, but it is, less. It's less. That's good. Why? Why is it less? What do we have? All I can think of is, I think the social distancing stuff, that wave crashed upon the shore, I would say last weekend. and I think it's too soon to see a payoff from that. But I think these doctors maybe are starting to get a handle on what they can throw at this thing that works. There's a war, the bad choice of words, there's a battle going on between the president and the media, of course, where he has thrown out specific medications. I think one's called chloroquine. Chloroquine. I looked all this up. Apparently, there used to be a drug called quinine, something like that. That goes way back into the 19th century, and I guess it was used to treat malaria. What do I know about it? Nothing. I'm just regurgitating what was on Wiki. All I can think of is WikiLeaks. That's not right. I have a hole in my brain right now. Wiki pages, Wiki Encyclopedia, whatever that is. They were saying that this is the drug that enabled the British to colonize Africa, because I guess the British would go down to Africa, they'd get malaria, they'd die. They discovered this drug, now suddenly they can get down in there and they don't die. Chloroquine, I guess, is the successor to quinine, and it's been around since World War II. And I guess, it's better than something from the 19th century. Well, at any rate, for God knows what reason, the president has fixated upon these drugs as effective against COVID-19, the coronavirus, the goddamn virus. Why? I mean, somebody must have told him and sold it to him and said, hey, this works. Now, does it work? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I get what Trump's medical people are telling him, that, well, now we don't know. We have to go through clinical trials, which is apparently this long drawn-out, statistically valid, medically peer-reviewed process that takes months and months and months and months and months and months to determine whether a medication actually works against a certain condition. Well, we don't have time for all that stuff, and we'll do it. As we go through this, we'll do it. But that doesn't mean that if something works, where I can see with my own two eyes, this works, that, we can't just say, hey, that works. Are there going to be horrible side effects with this medication? Who knows? I mean, it's been around since 80 years. So if there are going to be side effects, maybe we know about them. I don't know, maybe. At any rate, so that's all I'm thinking is, that's why I started looking at this. Is like, he's making a big deal out of that. Maybe we're getting our hands on some medications. They'll stop this thing or slow it down at least. So I wanted to see if that's happening. Well, I don't know if this is the reason or not, but the numbers did drop. So, let's just cross our fingers and hope this isn't just a temporary bump in the road and this thing just spikes up into the hundreds next week. It probably will. But if for no other reason, they're probably using the same damn drug in Italy, and their numbers have spiked well into the hundreds, approaching the thousands. The way they're going, at a certain point, there'll be, over 1,000 people a day dead in Italy. So, that's what it kind of looks like. We're heading that way. I'm just looking for any ray of sunshine I can find to, see less people die, and in my own self-interest, get some baseball played here at some point this year. Now, other thoughts on the virus. It is interesting how this is all shaping up. It really, I think the president said, we're all in this together, or something like that. Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, there are definitely fault lines breaking out here on this virus. You have most of the deaths are occurring in blue states. The lockdowns are occurring for the most part in states with Democrat governors. Uh, you have the people dying are all one group. The elderly, all of them. I mean, almost all of them. And that's not being heavily reported, but it's obvious to anyone that reads more than 6 articles on this thing that the people dying are all, say, 50 and up. There's a handful, probably you can count them on 2 hands, that have died in the United States under 50 years old. The rest are all 50 and up, and it just gets higher and higher as you get into the upper ranges of ages. That it is what it is. It's it's a fact. At a certain point, again, I'm still on team government. Go shut down, lock it all down. Let's all just sit at home for a while and let this thing cool out. Just see what happens. But you can't leave the world shut down forever. And I think what you're going to see is guys like the Trump's main doctor there, Fauci, left to his own devices, he'd shut the world down indefinitely until there's like only a handful of these corona cases out there. It is totally impractical to do that. You just can't do it. You'll bankrupt us all. Where do you draw the line? At what point do you lift the restrictions and say, all right, let's start to get back to normal life here? And I don't know the answer to it. This reminds me of I remember when I was, first, second grade maybe, they put me in a smart kid class, like a specially advanced little class for kids that they determined to be smart. Who knows why they, let's tell it like it is. I used to be the smartest of the smart. I don't know where I peaked. I don't know where that went, in which can of Miller Lite that went out the window on. But I was the flashcard champion. They could not beat me. So I remember this exercise we had where the teacher, who I'm still actually, I think I haven't talked to her in over 40 years, but I think she's Facebook's friends with me. At any rate, it was a deal where we're all locked in a spaceship or a room or a bunker, and the world has ended outside in some radioactive fog. You can't go outside because the air's all poisonous, and if you go outside, you're going to die. So we all are inside here, and I couldn't remember if we were there, we were waiting for rescue or what, but everybody in the classroom is locked in the bunker. And now somebody's at the door, and they want in. They're outside, and I don't know how they got outside, but they're outside in the poisonous fog, and we got to decide whether to let them in or not. And for a 7-year-old, what a decision. So, do we let them in? I mean, they're going to kill all of us in here, isn't it? When are they going to let the poisonous fog in? Well, what if that's my father? What do I do? Do I leave him out there? Well, I don't know. He said I couldn't ride my bike this afternoon. What should I do? Big decisions for a 7-year-old. So, this is what this kind of reminds me of. It's like, well, you got all the old people in the country or the world, and they're going to be subjected to this awful virus that's going to kill a good percentage of them. And when I say a good percentage of them, I'm talking like 1%, 2%. And so do we turn the world upside down to try to prevent this sort of thing? Good questions, all good questions. I know this, if I turn on the major media channels, I don't get that kind of discussion. Nobody wants to say that or talk about it, but that's what you're down to. I mean, it's obvious who this virus is affecting. Hey, like I said, I'm on team government. Let's shut it all down. Let's all just do what we're told, sit in our houses, Don't spread the virus. Don't spread the virus. Let's just see where this goes, see where it ends up. Hopefully this numbers will continue to stall out and ultimately lessen. Anyway, these are my thoughts on Saturday afternoon. I may have more clear thoughts for you tomorrow or Monday. Very good, very good. We'll see. Guess I'll watch the Red Sox and Yankees game. I seem to recall the Yankees won, but I think there was a guy named Dent in that game somewhere. I'll watch it again, probably, just because I'm so desperate for sports. I'm watching old games over again. All right, very good. Eric Arnold, from me to you, be careful, wash your hands, stay safe, out.